want to be here for this pre-roll stuff because we won't always talk about it. But we did that today, and while we were doing that, wait, let me go back. So if you want to be here for that, you have to watch us live on Twitch. You can watch us at Extreme FTW Gaming on Twitch or Jimmy G
_SHMAK.
and
Jimmy
that's
G
also on Twitch.
_Schmack on Twitch.
Yep. So come out, watch the pre-show. But like I said, during today's pre-show, we're sitting here and I was telling Jimmy, it's like, oh, my phone's blowing up because I'm getting a bunch of spam calls. And then this guy goes, oh man, you have
I
no
know
idea.
your feeling. I know your feelings. So I've been getting this random text message from like 19 different numbers about get longer, get harder, stay harder. You know, what can you bring to her pleasure? Nonsense.
I can't.
I'm like, okay. I end up blocking every number because I've used the same email, same phone, like basically my whole life. As soon as I got a phone, that's been my number ever since. So anybody who's out there who's watching this has known me from when I was 19 years old. Yeah, my number's still the same. So if you haven't called me, that means you deleted my number. And if I haven't called you, that means I've deleted your number over the period of the 1,000 phones I've had. But yeah, I've had the same number through what was it? Cricket Wireless, AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile. Like I've had the same number the whole time. And in my email address, I've had I think since I was 14. So, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, you've had that stuff for a while. So, but what's funny is you mentioned having the same number. I had your number in every single phone I've ever owned, right? Unfortunately, I don't save it on the SIM card. Even if I did, it wouldn't matter because the SIM cards themselves have changed sizes so many times. And the phones I get, like I'll get that giant ass brick looking SIM card, and then it's that tiny little thing, and then it's a bigger one, and then it's the tiny little thing again. And so every single time I've changed phones, I've lost your number. And the only reason I ever got it back is because we still talk through Facebook or something. Otherwise, I would never have a way to contact you. So.
For the record, everybody out there who's listening right now too, Extreme sold his house when his dad passed away, right? And I was looking at it, but in order for me to see it, like the sale stuff, I reached out to Extreme through text messaging saying, "Hey, what's the address of your house?" And him being the trusting guy he is, he goes, "Here it is." I mean, he doesn't know who I am. All I got was a number. So it's like this random dude's texting me, "What's the number to my house?" I could be going there to kill this guy, and he's like, "Here you go. Here's the number. Here's the address. Check it out.
So,
At the house is for sale. It's fine."
Be fair.
And then he comes back with
you my phone number again, like.
And then he comes back with, "Who's this?"
No, I messaged you and I'm like, just to be clear, this is who I think it is, right? And you were like, yeah. I was like, okay, good. Because we just got done talking. Like we just got done. We were on Discord. We were playing something. But yeah, no. I've lost James's phone number multiple times because my last phone, I'd had that sucker. It was a big ass brick. I had that sucker for. Ooh, wow. I had that thing a long ass time. I think I had that thing almost 10 years. And it died the day all of the stuff with my dad happened back in 2020. But I'd had that thing for so long and I had his number in there. So when I got this piece of crap, because this is just one of those little prepaid phones. I paid $50 for this thing. Yeah.
What?
I didn't have his number. I didn't have a lot of people's number. The only numbers I knew by heart were my brother's and my dad's. Actually, I didn't even know my dad's number by heart. I just had it saved just in case on my computer. But everybody else, ex-girlfriends, family, I didn't have none of that. So I had to ask Eric to help me out and tell me what I needed. And the same with Elliot, like, hey, who's this?
I have two. I have two numbers memorized. That's it. Just two. Like
Yeah.
back when we were younger, I had them all memorized because that was the only way to have them. Like your
Yep.
phone didn't store it. Like you didn't have cell phones.
Yeah.
But I know two. I know my wife's number and I know my brother's number. I don't know my parents' number by heart because they've had 3 or 4 different phone numbers
Do you know
since
your
cell phones
number?
came out. Well, okay, and my number, but there are people out there who don't know their own number.
My dad was one of those people, dude. My
How
dad
do
would
you not
constantly
know
like,
your phone number? You know their
because he just,
reply? You know their
so like
reply? This is every single person's reply. I don't call myself.
that was what my dad said. I don't call myself. How do I know my number? But no, every time, like I remember, especially when we moved in here, because we were setting everything up. I'm like, all right, Pop, what's your number? And he goes, well, you have it in your phone, right? And I'm like, God damn it, Pop. So I would pull it out and I'm like, it wasn't that like, yes, my dad eventually we would find out my dad had dementia, but my dad just forgot shit like that. He just didn't care. When we were back in the day, had a house phone, right? Didn't know the number, had it written down. Would never memorize it. Why? Because we changed that some bitch like 4 times. So, but but yeah, so I don't know why, but for some reason, um, losing cell phone numbers in general, is something my family does really well. But I'm the king of it. But yeah, I don't know how we got on that, but moving on. So, how's your work schedule now? Like, what are your days
As of
off?
right now, my days off are Tuesday, Wednesday. That can switch, but as of right now, they're Tuesday, Wednesday. And
Okay,
when it changes, obviously you'll be in the know, you'll be in the loop.
I hope
And
so.
the plan is to return back to Wednesdays and be able to do our show Wednesday morning because that's really when it works out best for me. Like I wake up, I'm like ready to go. Truth be told, if my days off stay Wednesday off, if we wanted to start, at 9 instead of 10 my time,
Mhm.
I'm cool with that too. But I know that if you go to work and you're working graveyard and stuff like that, I don't know where you left off on that. I mean, it was all just a
Um,
big cluster of we'll have to figure it all out.
so as it stands right now, that is a big question mark, as I don't see the streaming getting to a point where I'm going to make a living off of it or even make any kind of money. I mean, if I was making even 300 bucks a month, she would be fine with it because it's an income and it's something that helps out in the house, and she'd be fine. But that's not even in the immediate to near future. So I don't know what I'm going to end up with. I am looking at something like remote work so I could still be at home, because as she started to very quickly realize the idea of me being home to handle stuff, not just, taking care of my brother, but actually dealing with whatever may come to the house, as I'm the only one that's really paying attention to what's going on around me. Yeah, she's a little more like, I don't know how I feel about it, but we have to either A, get more money coming in somehow, or B, um, the situation with my mom's life insurance finally gets resolved, and I've got a boatload of cash sitting on that I can pretty much live off of for the next 20 years, whichever comes first.
Right.
So I don't know. I have no idea what's going to happen. I do know that if I'm not anywhere near affiliate status by the end of next week, I'm probably going to start looking for something. And then by probably the 14th of August, I'm going to be working that if I don't have that money coming in. So we'll see. A lot of questions are waiting to be answered. The biggest one right now is if and when Elliot's going to get my dad's Navy retirement money. We're still waiting to hear from the Navy on that. Hopefully, we get an answer this week, and I'll know, and then I can move forward with just focusing on streaming, because then we've got that extra money coming in. She'll calm down and not freak out as much. But we just got the electric bill, and she's so used to her electric bills being under, especially during the summer when she's not here, for it to be over $100. She's like, "What the fuck?" And I'm like, well, what did you expect? I mean,
A lot of
so
electricity, air conditioning, all that stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And that's the
Um,
other thing. I just realized I need to go turn that off.
just be grateful you're not here. Be grateful
Oh
you're not
God, no,
here.
dude. I
Fucking
understand that.
the electric bill here. When Dave and Tina
Easily
lived
400
here.
bucks.
Well, check it out. When Dave and Tina lived here, it was me working graveyard. Tina was here during the day with me. Sometimes uh, at one point she got a job during the day. Um, and then Dave, I don't remember what shift Dave worked, but anyway, I guarantee you I was here. I was going to sleep, didn't have the air conditioner on. It's 102, 105 degrees outside. I don't have the AC on. The electric bill was, $350 because I had a fan going. And then when Dave and Tina moved in, we had the electric bill and the air. We turned the air conditioner on because who wants to be hot when they're awake? And it skyrocketed to $655 or $680. And I'm like, yeah, that's not going to work for us.
Yeah.
So we ended up getting solar that we're like leasing.
Mhm.
And so I pay them the electric bill, which is $250. But then at the end of the year, what doesn't get covered by solar, we have to pay SDG&E. So at one point, it was well over $2,000 for electricity that was not accumulated just because the weather wasn't good enough to bring in energy. And then
Yeah.
summertime hit, and that $2,000 drastically dropped down to like $600 or $700 because now we're producing energy.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the kind of stuff that you have to look at is, do I have enough panels to produce the energy to counter the cost over the year? We'll find out. But anyway, you
Yeah, that
look
is
at it, I'm still paying almost $300 a month in electricity to this other to the solar leasing company if I'm running my electricity.
yeah, that is one thing that I had the benefit of not having to deal with too much. Because we had Elliot on the electrical bill. His name was on it and everything. And he was in a certain program that gave him a massive discount.
Yeah.
But even then, during the summer, our electric bill typically was about 150 to 200 bucks just course of the year. And that was because we were home all the time. We were rarely gone, so everything was always on. I was on my computer, I was on my consoles, I had TV going, so basically the exact same setup I have now.
Yeah.
And so with it on all the time, the electric bill is about 200 bucks a month. Well, here in Montana, when we first moved here, our electric bills went from anywhere from like 60 bucks a month to as high um as like 175. So not too bad, but Elliot wasn't on the bill. It was my dad. My dad was getting a discount because of his age, but it was also because it's just cheaper here than it is in California.
Yeah.
However, moving in here, my girlfriend's so used to that minuscule bill that the fact that it's gone up by leaps and bounds with the water and everything, in her mind, she's like, "Why is it going so high?" And I'm like, "Because you have other people living in the house
Yeah.
now.
You have more people. Yep.
Yeah." And it's like, I understand you're used to this, and hopefully soon she's no longer, because right now she covers all the bills. It's just the way she wants things done, and I get that, but it's like, let me cover these bills. The only bill she doesn't take care of is the internet. That's the only one she doesn't pay for. And even that, she's like, "Did you pay it already?" And I'm sitting over here like, "Yeah, I paid it. I paid it when I was supposed to. Hey, did you pay the mortgage? Did you do this? Did you do that?" After all that shit that a couple months ago, I'm like writing her about it, and she's like, "All right, I get it now. I get it. I get it. Get off me about it."
Yeah.
But
It's a two-way street, lady.
yeah. But at the same time, it's like I wish I could be like, "Hey, let's put the electricity in my brother's name so that we get a discount on it." But then I was looking at it, and the power company here doesn't offer that program. If I wanted to get a discount on the electric bill, I have to go through this and that, and then we get the discount on a regular monthly basis. But it's such a convoluted process. It's like, how much would we save? I don't know if it's worth it. I bring it to her and she's like, okay, well, what do we got to do it? And I'm all this, and this. And she's like, not working. And so I see her perspective, but I can see that changing come wintertime. She's probably
Yeah.
going to be like, you know what? Let's go ahead and do that because we will be home a hell of a lot more than we already are.
Yeah, it's being
So,
snowed
yeah.
in and all that kind of stuff, running the
Oh, yeah. In
heater.
fact, it was right before she finished school back in May. We had a full blown like snowstorm and the snow, I in the what is it, like 4 or 5 years now that I've lived here, I've never seen the snow that high on me. So for those watching that don't know this, I'm 6 foot and the snow came up to me right there, and I'm like, nope, I'm going back inside. Fuck
When
no,
I
I'm going back inside.
when I went
That's
to
not the weather I'm talking
Colorado, yeah, when I went to
about. Huh?
Colorado during the winter for vacation,
Mhm.
I expected snow. It's Colorado and it's winter. Like I expected snow. And we had fresh not moose, fresh like elk tracks or deer tracks or something outside our cabin. And I was like, cool. Now, the cabin, mind you, is also on a raised platform because of snow. And this platform is like 2.5, maybe 3 feet. The snow hit the platform and went onto the porch. I swept all the porch snow off. I threw a little salt out there. I went and I did the stairs, threw a little salt out there. Went and did the driveway, did a little salt out there. And then I went back in the house and I grabbed Clifton. He was 3. I'm like, Clifton, you want to jump in the snow? And he's like, yeah. So we put on his little snowsuit thing. We take him out on the front porch, and we had him jump off of the porch into the snow, because mind you, like I said, it's like 2.5, 3 feet. So I wanted to see if he would just just like how you're talking. And yeah, sure enough, he jumped in and it went like he jumped into a ball pit. He's like, it's really cold.
Yeah, yeah. It's I love it when it snows because there's a variety of things that go on. One, the roads are quieter. Two, there's not a lot of traffic for the most part. Until you get closer to like the holidays. Once the holidays start coming up, oh, the traffic suddenly becomes like right now. Like it's
Like
like
LA.
everybody and their mother's like, I gotta go to the store, I gotta buy this shit. And I'm like,
Yeah.
no, you don't. No, you don't. No, you
Yeah.
don't. But especially with COVID now kind of being in the back burner for a lot of people. Um, this year, this past holiday season, holy crap, the amount of people on the roads was nuts. I didn't talk about it when it was happening because I don't think we were doing the podcast back then. I don't think we were doing it yet. I don't think I started till January, right? Yeah, I started
Sounds
doing the
about right.
streaming and everything in January. So, but yeah, Christmas time and Thanksgiving, like right close to those holidays, like a week before and maybe a little bit after, the roads were just nuts. And then it's just calm because there's really no one out because everyone's like, screw it, Amazon that shit. And so you didn't see a lot of people on the roads, especially at the mall. And my girlfriend did a lot of ordering online to go pick up stuff, and we would go to the mall a bunch. Well, during that time, I didn't talk about this. Me and her went on a date, and while we were out, we went to it was a special event type thing, and we're leaving the place. Going in, didn't have any problems, no issues walking into the place. Coming out though, as soon as we walked out the door, she fell and hurt herself. And then I trying to save her, full on fucking home alone, whoop, legs in the air, just when I landed, I was like, "Oh, thank God for all those years of wrestling because I knew how to take that fall." Because as soon as I felt my feet go out, I tucked my goddamn chin. But I still landed awkward as hell, and it took a while for me to feel normal again. But this at the time was a culmination of events that had occurred because just like 2 weeks prior, she was we went to go get something for our kitchen sink, and she had fallen and done the splits basically because some asshole let their dog take a giant ass turd in the Lowe's that we went to, and didn't bother to clean it up, didn't say anything to anybody, just left it there and took off as fast as possible. And then me and Kim walked by and she fucking slipped in it. And the next thing she knows, she's like basically injured I don't know what it was she injured, or her hamstring is what she said. And it took a while for her to walk like normal again, and not have pain. And this is also coming off of her, because right out front of our house we have a little steps, set of stairs, and it's like back in October, November, somewhere around there. She went out to go outside and she put some stuff down, and then she turned to close the door. And when she turned back, her body just said no, and she went down the stairs. And from the entire side of her hip, just one giant bruise where she hit the stairs. My initial fear was she'd broken something. She wouldn't go to the hospital. It took the pain getting to the point where she was like, I can't stand on this. And she went and they said, yeah, you have a minor fracture. You should not be putting any weight on this. And it took that happening for her to finally say, okay, I'll go rest and stay home for a while. She was resting for 2 weeks. And that's when we moved in, is when that happened. Like a week before that is when that happened. And she was still resting. We move in, very next day, she goes to work, fucking hurts herself, comes home and is like, all right, I guess I'm home for another week. And then a week after that is when she pulled her hamstring. We had the incident in Lowe's. And then 2 weeks after that was the fall on the ice. And then a week after that,
I'm
no,
sorry,
2 weeks after
dude.
that
I'm
is when
sorry,
she
but
twisted her ankle.
I'd have broke up with you.
Huh?
I said, I'm sorry, dude, but I'd have broke up with you. But no,
Why
this
would you
guy's
broke it
fucking
up with me? It's
cursed.
not my fault any of this shit happened.
This guy's cursed. I'm out.
Dude, the first fall, I wasn't even here. But no, so that happened. And then the last fall that she had, where she stepped wrong, it's the driveways just crap. And there was still, we didn't have a crap ton of snow at that time, but it was dark and she just couldn't see it, and she just stepped wrong. But yeah, her left, or I think it's left or right leg, I'm not sure which one, for months has been just pain, lots of pain. And we finally got the pain gone completely. And she's been pain free for about 2, 3 months for the most part. She goes to camp. She's been there for a couple weeks now. All that pain is back and she's having trouble walking on it. And I'm like, babe, you really have to get your leg up. Because that's one of the things she doesn't do. Like, she just doesn't put her legs up enough. And I yell at her for it and get mad about it. And she still is just like, no. She's stubborn, which is why she is absolutely perfect for me, because I don't I don't like I don't want a partner that's just going to give in easily to every little thing I want and ask of her. I want a partner that's going to fight for themselves. But in this instance, I'm like, could you please just listen to me, because I don't want you to hurt yourself anymore and I want you to feel better. And she's like, no, I'm gonna do what I want to do. If you don't like it, tough shit. But the other reason why I like it is because when I do the exact same thing she does, she can't give me shit, because neither one of us listens to the other. But I will always come back later and be like,
Stand your ground, homie.
well, we eventually secede and we say, yes, you're right. All right, I should have listened. But it takes a bit. And it's usually after things get to the point where it's like, all right, as much as I don't want to acknowledge that you're right, you win, fine. And only when that point happens do we, okay, you win. And it's like, neither one of us feels like it's a victory, which is another thing I love about her, is that even though when something's bad like that with my shoulder, how it was going for months, she was really worried that it was something serious. And when the pain finally went away completely, she was like, I've told you, you need to lay in the bed. And sadly, it took until I was finally sleeping in the bed, because as you guys know, I've been sleeping on the couch every night. Sleeping like that Can't do that every single night for months on end and expect not something to go out of whack.
Right.
So, but it's just she has a queen size bed. We're not skinny people. And so both of us laying in the bed, it is a little like tight for us to be in there together, which is why I was waiting until we got our king size bed. But every time we thought, okay, we're gonna be able to get it now, we need the money for something else. So it's like, fuck.
So
So
I'm gonna put this out there in the universe. I want Extreme here to have good deeds and happy things, but at the same time, having a smaller bed is fun sometimes. So I'm a smaller person
it
now,
would be
but
if
I
she didn't have a
wasn't
job to do.
always. You know, I'm a smaller person now, but I wasn't always. And my wife, she's not a smaller person. And at one point, I had a twin size bed, and I'm like, yeah, get on in here. Let's spoon it up. Let's cuddle. And I mean, granted, it was a tight fit because, like I said, we were both not small people. But I don't think I've enjoyed spooning any more in my life. You know, it's a great opportunity to get close and you know, just be one.
And
So
that's why
I'm
me
gonna
and
I'm gonna
Kim are
this
so
is
different than you,
this
Jill,
is
because
yeah, I would
we
say this
hate
is why I'm gonna put
touching.
this out there is use that opportunity to spoon, dude. Get close to each other.
So
Show
that's the
each
thing.
other
Neither
that
one of us.
physical.
So hang on. So that's the thing. She and I are the same way when it comes to how we sleep. Like we both have to have a fan on, even if it's like freezing wintertime. We have
Oh,
to have a fan on. We have to
I do
have some kind
too.
of air circulation.
Yeah.
But on top of that, we can't sleep touching someone else. She can fall asleep with me, like rubbing her head, holding her, whatever. But if I continue to do that, she will 100% because she's done it. Wake up and elbow me as hard as she can in the chest to move me off. I will wake up from that where she will literally like, whoa, and then go right back to sleep. Because that's happened. When I still had my full size bed, we slept on that thing. And that thing, dude, again, 6 foot. At the time, I'm fucking borderline 500 pounds. She's got the majority of the bed. I got this tiny little sliver, and I'm making every inch count. And so sleeping on that, I couldn't turn, I couldn't do anything. So I would have to literally get in one position and stay there. I would wake up, everything hurt. And
Yeah.
she would sit there and be like, why is everything hurt? And I'm all, because if I turn over
You hit
at
me.
all,
You abuse
we are
me.
in trouble. And so she's like, no, just tell me, I'll move over. And I was like, all right, fine. So that night, it was actually when Eric and my niece were here back in July of 2020 when all that stuff with my dad was happening. And they were here. And so she stayed with us for the entirety of their trip and a little bit after. But while she was there, we were sleeping in the bed. And that night, we'd gone to Yellowstone. We'd taken my brother and my niece there. And it was funny because my niece was really excited to go, but then once she realized that we couldn't get out of the car and actually get out and do anything, she was like, "This is kind of boring." And then all the animals were like sparse, like they weren't really out. Um, so she was kind of bored of it. But me, my brother, and Kim were just watching everything and taking in everything. Niece falls asleep, finish the trip, come home, time to go to bed, and I tell her, I'm like, you realize if if you move over, whatever, if we try and split the bed more evenly, that's a small ass bed for the two of us, I'm gonna end up whacking you or something in my sleep. She's no, everything will be fine. Everything will be fine. Well, so that night we cuddle, and eventually I pull off of her because I don't want to punch me in the chest. I get in my position and I go to sleep. Well, she decides, well, I'm gonna like cuddle with you tonight because she woke up, went to the bathroom, comes back, and then is like, screw it, why not? I do the exact same thing to her that she had done to me, and she's like, "Fuck that." So ever since then, we're like, keep your distance. So,
That's
but
funny.
apparently I didn't even know I did that. Like, if you touch me when I'm asleep, I get violent. I don't know why. I don't.
It's
There was
it's
nothing
it's
in
a
my past
thing.
that would indicate that. So it's like
No,
I
I'm
don't know
that
why
way
that is.
too, or I was that way. Like, there's been times where and you can ask Dave. Like, when he came over to my house and I was asleep and he'd go to wake me up, he'd grab my big toe and he would shake it. And I try to pass that knowledge over to Jill, like, don't wake me up coming from the front. Like, just don't do it. I'll wake up and you may get hit. And she never really grasped that. And we got our king size bed and everything. And mind you, like I said, I was working graveyard, she's working day shift. She'd come home and wake me up and say, hey, you know, I'm home, food's ready, this or that or whatever. And well, one day she came in and she came around the backside of the bed as like coming up to wake me up by like giving me a kiss or something. And I happened to have felt the bed move and I woke up and all I see is some mystery figure coming straight in. I woke up, Finch Clist, arched back, ready to. Yeah. I never seen a look of fear of God in somebody's face, and then I realized it was her. I'm like, you have no idea how lucky you are that I did not follow through with that. Like, you have no idea. She goes, oh, I know. She thought for sure she was gonna get knocked the fuck out. She's like,
I remember waking you up because we back in 2003, I think it was. We had a big old get together. We were gonna watch a wrestling event. I think it was WrestleMania. I don't know what it was, or SummerSlam, something. And it was just all the peoples from Dave's group, WWC, whatever it's called, and everyone was there. I stayed. We all hung out. We stayed for like a week. And one day you went to bed and you were like, hey, do me a favor. Wake me up in 2 hours because I got to go to work. And I was like, all right. 2 hours later, I come to wake you up. And something told me, just grab his leg. Don't touch him anywhere else. Just grab his leg. And I don't know why I listened to that, but I did that and you popped up like, what? Oh, what? And I'm like, yep. I'm glad I listened to that intuition. Never told me shit, but just something told me like, no, don't get any closer. You're gonna regret it. So, but yeah, I saw you do that, and I was like, all right, get up. And you got up, and it didn't even register like you were about to swing. It did, but it didn't. And then like the next day, you were same thing. You asked me to wake you up, and you took a nap on the couch. Well, that time I was like, fuck it, I wanted to fuck with you, so my dumbass had got Matt to jump on top of you. I was like, hey, Matt, do me a favor. What? Wake him up. Okay. Whee! Just splashes you on the couch. Oh, man, you were so pissed. But it was funny. And so I remember that. I'm like, please don't ask me to wake you up again because I'm just going to be a dick again. Because that was really funny. Because the way you woke up, you were like, "What, motherfucker?" But
hey,
you know, I don't know why, but I remember that really vividly. Like, I remember going to wake you up in your room and something telling me, "Don't go any further. Just right here's fine. Grab his leg. He'll be fine." And I remember you like full on because you had woken up. Gross. Like, I don't know if you were fully awake yet, but like you would open your eyes for like a second, and then that's when the fist came up, and then I guess the vision cleared more, and you're like, oh, thank you. And then that was it. And I was like, all right, get up, and left the room. But yeah, I remember that. But yeah, apparently I've done the same thing. And the first person to tell me this was my ex from LA. I don't think I've ever said her name, and I don't want to now. Especially because I have old videos on YouTube, which I tell stories about her, and I don't want her to sue me. So it's the truth.
Anyway.
But yeah, so she and I were sleeping together in a hotel, and she went to, wake me up in a more sensual way. And I full on punched her in the chest, and I don't remember any of it. Slept through the whole thing. And so she never tried to do it again. I've had a couple other partners do the same thing and find out the hard way. Kim tried it. And apparently I didn't do anything, but I also didn't respond like at all. Like there was zero response. And so she was just like, all right, never mind. And so I always tell my partners, like, when I'm asleep, just leave me alone. If you're waking me up, wake me up. Don't try and do anything funny or sexy. Just get me up and then proceed with whatever it is you want to do, because I either will A, violently respond for some asinine reason, or B, I just won't respond at all. So you gotta wake me up.
Don't try to do anything
So
sexy. All that takes me to is T. Fucking Tommy, Like he had this moment where there was a sensual situation and the girl ended up with a broken nose. And I could see that being a thing. Somebody tries to wake you up doing something sensual, and yeah, they wake you up, but they're bleeding.
yeah,
Like
I think a
it's
big
just
part of it is you have to consider the individual's
it's
upbringing,
yeah, I'd say
like
it's
how
it's a
they
lot of it's fight or flight, and it
yeah.
may not have anything to do with upbringing, but fight or flight, that's huge. And
Yeah.
you learn a lot about a person when they're sleeping. And I feel like in a fight or flight situation, I've never been the guy to just immediately fight, but I know 100% I'm not the flight. Like I've gone to things, not away from them. And
Yeah.
but I've always treated it all like a chess game, you know? It's is this the right move? If I do this, am I going to jail? Or is it worth it? Is it worth going to jail? Like how extreme is this situation to know if I need to fight, you know? But at the
Yeah.
same time, I have been in the situation where it's like, no, if something happens, we're going to fight. Or I've also been in the situation of I'm walking down the street and I'm just in a piss poor mood, and somebody across the street's being a jerkwad. I'm like, go ahead, say something to me, asshole. Like I want to fight. Let's go. And so
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
I've hit
it's
every page of that, but I'm definitely not the flight guy. And you learn that in your sleep. I'll tell you that right now. You wake up and
yeah.
I've seen people where their first instinct is to roll and hide. You wake them up, they roll out of bed real quick. Oh God, what is happening? I wake up like that and I'm ready to go.
Yeah,
So
this morning, my girlfriend's uncle, because he's coming to get he's buying her car, one of her cars from her. And he showed up. Well, he showed up at 7, and I was still asleep because I went to bed at like 2 o'clock last night. So he shows up at 7, and I'm laying in bed, and I don't hear the rings from the doorbell because our doorbell is all jacked up now. So the inside ringer doesn't work. It only comes through the phone or the Alexa system we have in the house. But I didn't hear either one. And so next thing I know, I guess he waited like 15 minutes of trying to, get someone to come answer the door. And then he knocked on the door. And when he knocked on the door, my gut instinct was jump straight up and get in a like, oh shit, what's happening? And I went to go run to the door. Elliot's already there. Like he was because he was supposed to be up and doing whatever he's supposed to be doing around the house. No, he was still in bed, but he was up and at that door as fast as possible because that knock, I've only heard that knock one other time. And it sounded like the kind of knock where, people with badges are on the other side of that door. And to
I
find that it
hate
was
those
just,
knocks.
yeah, to find it was just her uncle, I was like, oh, okay.
I
And
usually
I lay
call
back
people
down.
out. I call people
Huh?
out who knock like that. I'm like, hey, what do you think you are, the cops? Who knock on my door like that? All that makes me want to do
Well,
is
he
open
was
the
doing
door,
it
swing,
because,
punch you in the face, close the door, and lock it real quick.
to be fair though, he was told we would be awake. And the fact that we weren't, he's like, come on, guys, I got to go. I got things to do. I don't blame him. We told him we were going to be up. But we told him we were going to be up at that time yesterday, not today. So when he showed up at that time, I was like, man, my alarm hasn't even gone off. Why are you here so damn early?
Right.
But yeah, no, it spooked me for a minute because in my head, especially with Kim being where she is right now, being so far away, my biggest fear is someone's going to show up to do that. Like, so I got a
Would
little
take you to
worried.
jail?
No, not take me to jail, but to tell me like whether it's like her family or whatever come by to tell me, and they're like in a panic. Oh yeah, and I haven't had a chance to tell you what happened yesterday. We'll get back to that in a bit. But yeah, so that knock freaked me out, and it took me a bit to kind of calm back down. And when I finally got out of bed, I was like, her family has a knack for scaring the shit out of me, including herself. Which brings me to what happened yesterday. So yesterday I go to take care of the paperwork for my mom, that whole situation, and we were getting it notarized. Well, as we get to the place, it's like 9:30, 9:45, around there. It's still pretty early in the morning. Mind you, Kim hasn't texted me that early other than to say simply, I love you. And so I go and I notice my phone's ringing and I pull it out of my pocket and I look and I'm like, okay, what's going on? She'd already hung up, sends me a text message and it says, call me with like 4 or 5 like exclamation points. And I'm like, oh shit, this is important. So I rush outside real fast to call her back and everything's fine. She has one of her, coworkers where she's at pick up the phone and go, "Hi, is this Edward?" And I'm like, "This is not fucking funny. I'm not in the mood for this shit." Like, I thought this was important. No, no, she was calling and she's like, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to freak you out. I'll call you back." And I'm like, "No, it's fine. I've had a minute to calm down. What's up?" And I'm thinking, this has got to be somewhat at least a little important, right? No, about the fucking fire stick. She's getting a new fire stick and she wanted to make sure she got the right one. And I'm like,
Wow.
baby, don't ever do that many quotation marks again. Just do a period. I will call you back as soon as I can. I thought it was like legit something important, so I freaked out. She's like, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to freak you out." I'm like, "It's all good." So when her uncle did that this morning, I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, this isn't the first or second time this has happened. Your family just has a knack for fucking freaking me out." So, so yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the situation with the fire stick, that's a fun story. She has an old ass one, like a really old one in her bedroom, in the bedroom. And for months, it's been like she'll be trying to watch TV at night before she goes to bed. It'll just start hiccuping or just shut down or whatever. And she tried to watch the March Madness this year and she couldn't because the freaking fire stick kept screwing up. And I told her, I'm like, you just got to get a new one. You just got to get a new one. And she said, okay, well, when Prime Days come up, I'll get a new one. I forgot Prime Days were happening because I don't
Yeah,
have Prime. I don't
yesterday.
use it. Yeah.
Yesterday.
And
My
so
prime
she's
purchase
like,
yesterday was fucking armbands because my elbow. I bought some tennis elbow stuff. Anyway, sorry. Back to your story.
but so when she called me about it, I was like, oh right, yeah, it's Prime Day, huh? And she's like, yeah. Did you want anything? And I'm all, no. It's the only thing I want they don't have. And she's like, what do you want? And I'm like, do I really have to say it? She goes, oh, never mind.
Well, what is it?
So,
Now you have to say
well,
it.
the one thing I absolutely want that I cannot afford is a PlayStation 5. Like
I knew you're.
that
How did I know you were going to say that? I was going to
hang
say a
on.
PS5.
That's not the only thing I want, but that's the one thing I want because one, yes, I want a PlayStation 5 because I want to play the games, but two, it would make like a lot of the downtime that happens on my stream non-existent, especially with Warframe and Destiny, which have really long load times. It drives me nuts how long it takes to load into activities. Warframe, it would be like 10 seconds. I'm in the activity I'm in. Right now, it takes me about a minute to a minute and a half to load into an activity in Warframe, the same in Destiny, and I hate it. That's the only reason I want a PS5. Graphically, yeah, it's a little better. It won't be as loud as the one I have my PS4, but I just want it because of the load times. That's it. Like that's the only reason.
Which is
But
funny because I feel like that's the new Xbox. The Xbox Series X and the Xbox One, they're the
mhm.
same console. They play the same games. There's nothing special about it. It's one has faster load times and better graphics. Like I
Yeah,
can
that's
use an
better.
Xbox One controller on the Xbox Series X and vice versa. But it's what? Like why would you go out and pay $700 for a console that's the same console? Like I didn't realize it was going to be the same console, so I did. And now I kind of wish I didn't because I'm like, dude, it's the same. Sure, you got faster stuff, but I don't play all the stuff on my Xbox anymore anyway. I've switched over to PC, and I don't know if I'm going to stay there. I'm giving it a shot with a couple games, but I don't understand why they would do that. Let's make another system that's the same system, just a little faster.
So in many ways, that is true, and I can't defend that. For me, though, the big reason for why I want it is the significantly reduced load times. I mean, Destiny just loading into a basic encounter or even just bringing up your menu. Like, I'll load my menu just to switch stuff on my character, right? Takes about 30 to 45 seconds. And it's nuts. It should not be like that. I remember back in the day in Destiny 1, you would hit that button, everything's ready to you can start moving stuff no problem. There was a little bit of lag, but not like this. Like this is insane. And it's been there since the game launched because it launched at not the same exact time, but it did launch on PC and PC got a lot more love. And there are a lot of games that are like that. Warframe's like that. Um Fall Guys, like any game that's cross-platform, you're going to see a difference if you're on older generation consoles as opposed to the newer stuff because the newer stuff has better memory, better load times in general. So for me, yeah, there are some games that are coming out that look way better and run faster and all that fun stuff, but I could care less because the games I want the console for are games I already have, already play, and they just will look a lot better. They'll run a lot smoother. But the number one reason I want it is because right now you can't hear my console.
No, I still don't hear his console.
So it sounds like a jet engine's going off in my room.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah, the
so,
Xbox does that too. The Xbox
yeah,
One.
yeah. And so when Kim was still here, I was playing Warframe. Warframe is the worst for it. Like it gets way louder with Warframe than it does Destiny because Destiny does kind of run a lot of it like off the hard drive, but it's still not as bad. Warframe, it's just holy shit. It sounds like my console's gonna suddenly fly out of the roof. And so I've seen how quiet it runs on PS5, and that would make a world of difference because then I would be able to have my headphones off and hear the game without having to raise the volume to an asinine level. And I could hear her if she was calling for my help for something, which actually happened. Right before she left, I was taking a break from streaming and I was playing Warframe and she was calling me. She's in the room, literally across, like right off this door. The door was cracked open. I should have been able to hear her. This door was wide open. I should have been able to hear her. But because of this damn thing, I couldn't hear anything. I didn't have anything else playing. I had the volume real low so I could barely hear the game, but just the console. It's like I couldn't hear shit. And so she asked me the same question you did. Why do you want it so bad? And the answer is because it's just quieter. And even getting a new PS4 will not fix that. That's just the games are requiring so much of the system and the system just can't fully keep up with it that happens. It's also not part of the design. The PS4s were not designed to have the quietest fans in the world. PS5, Xbox Series X, they do have those quieter, more intense, powerful fans that don't do this. And I want that. So
I've been doing a lot of considering when it comes to gaming and trying to figure out as to what I want to do, PS5 or Xbox or PC. And I decided on the Xbox because I've had Xbox from day one. I had PC or PS. I've had PlayStation from day one. But the games I liked on PlayStation were the open world RPGs that kind of faded out. My favorite game on PlayStation that was a game to play was Suikoden. And they made Suikoden 2. I think they made a Suikoden 3. They might not have. I don't remember 100%.
I don't know.
But I know that I also played Wild Arms and Wild Arms 2 and Wild Arms 3. And all of those ended with PS2. Like nothing like that came out on PS3. And I never got a PS3. And then Dave got a PS3 and he did the whole like trade up thing. You know, I got this one. Let me trade it for this. Let me trade it for that. Let me trade it for this. Let me trade it for that. And he ended up getting a newer PS3, a rebuilt one, remodel, whatever, that works. And I still have it. It's in my bedroom right now. And I use it as like a Blu-ray player. Like I don't even play on it. But at the same time, I don't want to pay for a membership for 3 different things.
Yeah. That is one thing that for the longest time, people were like, "Oh yeah, it's free to play. You can play free games on PlayStation, and you can't do it on Xbox." That was the argument for why a lot of people played on PlayStation. Well, that changed like a year or two ago. I don't know when it changed. It was a while back, but that argument went away because you have to have PlayStation Plus to play online games. Period. And the same with Xbox. You have to have Xbox Live Gold to play online. But I remember it was the other way around originally. Originally, it was you didn't have to have Xbox Live Gold to play online,
Well, you
depending on the
don't
game.
have yeah, and say you don't have to anymore depending on the game. Like Rocket League,
Yeah,
my Xbox timed out, my Xbox Gold, Warzone, my Xbox Gold, all that was gone. So I didn't realize that we didn't have Xbox Live anymore. Clifton went in to play Risk of Rain 2, and he's like, I can't play. It won't let me play online. Why won't it let me play online? I'm like, I don't know. Our gold still works. I'm able to play. And so I went in and I looked. I'm like, oh shit, our gold expired a month ago.
yeah,
All right, let's get gold.
yeah. But yeah, they made that like because originally, like you said, it wasn't the thing, and there are some games you don't need it for, and that carries over on PlayStation. Like you can play Rocket League without PlayStation Plus, but um, it's the same on Xbox now. Like certain games, yeah, no problem, because that's the deal that's made for that game. But I don't know. I still don't understand why you have to pay a service for it. I understand why you have to pay for it. I just don't understand why they keep trying to bundle this service with all this extra crap that doesn't really make it worthwhile, you know?
Yeah,
Um you have the what is it? Xbox what's it called? It's not gold.
Game
It's
Pass,
that
Game
Game
Pass.
Pass. Yeah. That in concept in theory is a great thing,
The Game
but
Pass is great with the cloud gaming. Like that. That's what makes it great. Is most games have cloud gaming, so you don't actually have to download the game onto your console. So the Xbox internal hard drive that I have is 500 gigs. If I want to play all the Call of Duties, Vanguard, Black Ops, Modern Warfare, and Warzone, that's 500 gigs of data. I have
yeah.
no idea why that game is so goddamn big, but it is. And so on my console right now, that's basically all I have. I've got a couple other games that are smaller in data that are just as big games that they've learned how to actually compress their files before they launch it. Fucking Call of Duty, figure that shit out. Now it makes me upset. It really does. So I can't
Yeah.
have a variety of games in my console if I want to play Call of Duty, which is why I switched over to PC for Call of Duty. But it's frustrating. If you had cloud gaming, the Game Pass is worth it. If you have to download the game onto your console, it's not worth it because there's no room.
Yeah. And that's one thing that PlayStation Plus added with the premier or premium tiers and all that stuff. We got it because I was like, it's only $18 a month, whatever. Turns out it's not $18 a month; it's $15 a month for the premium. And so I was very happy to see that. But it's still, I might be wrong. It might be 17, but it's still a good price. And you get all this cool stuff. Like I got all these games I could play. And as far as the cloud gaming goes, if I was on a wired connection, I'd be more comfortable doing it. But with our current setup in the house, yeah, I don't trust the Wi-Fi to handle streaming games.
Yeah.
That being said, Elliot has tried playing some like he tried through what was it called? Stadia. He was trying to run Destiny. It just the router we have in the house just isn't strong enough, and that's why I got to get the new one. But it just for Wi-Fi, it's like you don't want a cloud game. You do not want a cloud game on Wi-Fi. You will have a horrible experience unless you have a really good router, which we don't.
Yeah.
But I was still kind of like, that's kind of cool, and they got all the old games on there. I know there were people that were not excited about it because why can't I download it? Because they want a smooth connection. And unfortunately, PlayStation's cloud gaming has not always been great. But since this thing launched last month, a lot of people are singing its praises. I haven't even touched a fraction of what it can do yet because I've been playing nothing but Warframe. But
Yeah, I know we
I'm
were
excited
supposed to
to.
go to Zur. We didn't do that,
Yeah,
but I did. I found him.
so you found him? Okay,
I
good.
did.
Speaking of, so right now inside of Destiny, Iron Banner is going on, and it's the last Iron Banner of this season. So if you wanted to get on and play and do some PvP and get some rewards and get some level points and everything like that, we can totally do that when you have a chance. I know you're busy after the podcast here in a little bit, but yeah, if you want to get on at any time today or tomorrow, just message me whether I'm streaming or not, and I'll jump over because for the most part in Warframe, I'm about done with what I need to do. But yeah, I kind of want to get back on there because I think the Solstice event starts next week, and I want to be
On
ready to do all
Warframe
that and take you
or
through it
on Destiny.
on Destiny. Destiny has a
Okay.
special event. Warframe has its TennoCon event this Saturday, which I will be streaming the actual TennoCon event, the entire event, while I'm streaming on my channel. So anyone watching wants to come hang out and watch the event with me and have me make jokes and stuff at D's expense, come hang out because that's what I plan to do. So yeah,
Word.
I don't know if I'll stream the whole thing. I may end up just saying screw it and stream part of it, but we'll see. But yeah, I definitely want to get back on Destiny sometime this week while Iron Banner is live and run that. And if you want to do it, let me know. We can go in there. Just know that you are going to see that your power level shouldn't have an effect, but you are going to go up against people that are trying really hard. It's like Iron Banner is the equivalent of, and Trials are the equivalent of playing Call of Duty in Destiny because it's nothing but tryhards in there. And it drives me absolutely insane how hard some people play this game. It's like, it's Jesus Christ, come on, dude. Like, chill. You're not MLG. You don't need to get good. Even if you're streaming, it's like, just play the game, have fun. And just some people are like nutso and intense and super like cheap with what they use. So, but like I said, some levels, some gear, and yeah, if you want to do
Yeah,
it, let me
but
know.
but a lot of that too is they've been playing for a while, so they have that gear and they have that stuff, and they
Not
know
necessarily.
what's cheaper to use and all that stuff.
Not
Like I
necessarily.
did
Like
I did
I've
a
come
Google
against guys.
search as to what the best gear to wear would be for my warlock, and I don't have any of it, but whatever, I don't really care anymore. Now it's more of a I want to play the game and see what works best for me and see how all that
That's
goes. But
that's honestly the best way to play it. If you try to do something someone else is doing, yeah, you're not going to get exactly what they have, and so you're going to have a different experience than they have, and it's not fun trying to do what someone else is doing. I mean, you can get close to what they're doing, but not exactly. And that's just the way it works out. I mean, it's the same in Warframe with ribbon mods. No one's going to get the exact same stuff. It's impossible.
yeah,
So that's one of the reasons why I do like Borderlands because it is possible for people to get the exact same stuff. It's just make a copy of it and send it to your buddy. That's
yeah,
why I like Borderlands. So, but yeah, you got to go
yeah,
because I
it's
just
getting
saw what
that
time
time.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So sadly, that is going to be the end of this week's episode. But again, just a reminder, everybody watching, whether you're watching here with us live or you're watching on YouTube over at Jimmy G's YouTube channel, next week we are relaunching the podcast and starting from scratch, essentially. And by that I mean we're starting back at episode 1. The stream, the podcast will have a new opener, new background. This overlay you guys see in this episode is what's going to be here from now on, but our background is going to be different, our intro is going to be different, and we're going to have a lot more fun with the show, and it will hopefully start being more consistent about what time we go live. But thank you guys for tuning in. We hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode. We'll be back next week with another one. Until next time, adios. And again, for those of you here with us,